Hi ladies, have you ever wondered if that one guy in your life might be secretly in love with you, but he's just not saying it out loud? Men often express their feelings in ways that don't involve words, and if you know what to look for, those little hints can reveal everything. So today, let's uncover 10 subtle signs a man is falling in love with you, and trust me, some of them will surprise you. He remembers the smallest details. When a man is really falling for you, his attention becomes almost cinematic, like he's collecting frames of your life and stitching them into a story only he gets to watch on repeat. I've seen it happen again and again. You make a passing comment about how your mom used to keep lavender sachets in the drawers, and a month later he hands you a tiny pouch that smells exactly like your childhood. That's not coincidence, that's care. He's not just hearing you, he's indexing you. It shows up in the way he orders your coffee without asking, the way he knows you hate that clinky ice in plastic cups, the way he remembers the name of your third-grade best friend because that memory made your eyes light up. He stores these tiny facts because they're shortcuts to you, your moods, your comfort, your calm. And he deploys them quietly, without fanfare, because he isn't trying to impress, he's trying to connect. You'll notice it in the rhythm of your conversations. You say you have a big meeting next Thursday, and he texts you Wednesday night, "You've got this." You mention your cousin's birthday, and weeks later he asks how the party went and whether the dog finally warmed up to strangers. He remembers the day you said that rainy afternoons make you sleepy and sends a nap emoji at 3 p.m. during a thunderstorm. Even his jokes circle back to something you said in a car ride 3 months ago. If you think about it, that kind of recall is emotional labor, and love makes people willing to do it joyfully. He's building a map of you, learning the side streets and shortcuts, so he never gets lost inside your world. This attention can be subtle in public and startlingly precise in private. At dinner he slides the breadbasket toward you first because you always pick the crustiest one. He bookmarks that article on female astronauts you said you wanted to read and brings it up later, not to quiz you, but to say, "I thought of you." If you're the kind of woman who changes her nail color based on mood, he'll clock the switch from red to soft pink and ask if your week got gentler. He notices the way you tuck your hair behind your ear when you're unsure, and that when you're really happy, your sentences start tumbling over each other. He loves these tells. They're the quiet subtext that makes you you. Sometimes the remembering is anticipatory. He keeps a phone charger in his bag because yours dies at 28% like clockwork. He tosses a granola bar in his jacket because you get hangry but never admit it first. He learns that "I'm fine" can mean "I'm tired" or "I need a hug," and he guesses right because he cataloged 100 versions of your "I'm fine" and how each one sounded. The more he cares, the less he leaves to chance. And yet it never feels like surveillance, it feels like safety, like being seen and held in the smallness of daily life. Of course, not every man is expressive in the same way. Some are loud about their memory, grand gestures, big surprises. Others are soft about it. A sticky note on your laptop after a long day, a screenshot of that recipe you said looked good, the exact brand of tea you once had when you were sick. What matters isn't the size of the gesture, it's the intention behind it. Memory becomes devotion when it's used to make your life easier or brighter. And if he's neurodivergent or simply not detail-oriented by nature, notice the effort. Maybe he keeps notes because he doesn't want to forget. Maybe he sets reminders to ask about your presentation. That, too, is love, choosing systems that help him love you well. There's also a gentle humility in how he uses what he remembers. He won't weaponize your fears or mock your preferences. If you confessed you're uneasy in crowded places, he'll pick a quieter restaurant without announcing that he did it for you. If you mentioned you're trying to read more this year, he'll send you a book that suits your taste and ask which character you liked, not to test you but to share the experience. He remembers the name of your college professor who encouraged you, and when he brings it up, it's to celebrate your resilience, not to interrogate your past. I pay attention to how a man remembers pain, too. When you tell him the story that still stings, he holds it with both hands. He doesn't prod, doesn't press. He gives that memory space, and later, when life brushes up against that bruise, he steers you gently away from what might hurt. That kind of memory is reverent. It says, I know the fragile parts and I'll guard them. Love is not just delight, it's stewardship, and memory is the tool. Even the digital trails tell on him. He sends you that playlist with tracks titled after inside jokes only the two of you get. He saves your voice note because you sounded especially alive in it. He remembers your preferred emoji and starts using it ironically until it becomes yours together. He scours a farmer's market because you mentioned missing sun-warmed tomatoes from your hometown. He buys 2 kinds of hot sauce because you're indecisive about heat and likes watching you decide. When a man remembers the smallest details, your life stops feeling like a performance you have to narrate and starts feeling like a duet where he already knows your part. He anticipates before you ask, he sees before you explain, he shows up before you realize you need him. It's not that he's memorized you like a script, people change, you will too. It's that he's paying attention in real time and choosing you, detail by loving detail, every single day. If you feel more yourself around him, more at ease, more seen, that's what this remembering does. It lets you exhale. And sometimes, the most romantic sentence a man can say isn't, I love you, but, I remembered. His body language gives him away. Before a man finds the courage to say what he feels, his body usually leaks the truth in whispers. I watch for the micro moments. The way his eyes look for you when you walk into a room, how his shoulders drop a fraction when you sit beside him, the tiny inhale before he says your name. Attraction can be loud, sure, but love is a quieter choreography. He leans in when you speak, not hovering, just close enough to catch the undertones. His knees point toward you even when he's angled away. His feet turn in your direction during group conversations, as if his body wants to be where you are even when his mouth is talking to someone else. These are small betrayals, gentle ones, and they're beautiful. Eye contact is its own language. With strangers, people glance away quickly. With you, he lingers. Not a stare. Love isn't a stare. It's a soft, sustained gaze that says, I'm here. His pupils widen when you laugh. He watches your mouth when you're thinking, not in a predatory way, but like he's waiting for the next thought to land so he can meet it midair. If you catch him looking and he smiles with his eyes before he smiles with his mouth, that's a tell. His face is reacting before he can compose it. And when he's shy, the gaze becomes a dance. Look, retreat, return. Each pass is a confession. Mirroring happens without permission. You cross your arms. A minute later, his loosen. You tilt your head, he matches the angle. You sip water. He does too, a beat behind. This isn't imitation, it's resonance. His nervous system is syncing with yours, a quiet calibration that signals comfort and interest. If you speed up your pace on a sidewalk, he naturally adjusts to match you. No, wait up, needed. If you sit on the floor at a party because the couch is full, he follows, knees knocking yours, happy to be at your level. Bodies tell the truth of priority. He is choosing your orbit. Touch is the bridge between maybe and yes, and in love it starts carefully. He finds reasons to be near you, a steadying hand at the small of your back when the room gets crowded, a fingertip brushing your wrist as he hands you a cup, a hug that lingers half a heartbeat longer on the exhale. If he's respectful, he reads your cues, listens for yes in the way you lean in or away. Tender men are attentive here, they don't assume. They ask without asking, waiting for your body to answer back. And when you offer touch first, watch how he softens, how the muscles in his jaw unclench, how his breath evens. Mutual comfort looks like two bodies relaxing into the same chair of air. Posture says more than compliments. Around you, he straightens a little, not to puff up but to be present. He wants to meet you at your full height, figuratively and literally. But presence also looks like ease. If he tucks one leg under himself on your couch or lets his tie go loose halfway through the conversation, he's telling you he feels safe here. He doesn't perform masculinity like armor around you. He lets it fall to the floor and sits in his softness. That's love, the bravery of letting the body be unguarded. Nervousness is a whole dialect. Watch the fidgeting, the way he fixes his watch band, touches his collar, rubs the back of his neck. It's not insecurity as much as an overflow of energy with nowhere to go. He wants to choose the right word, and his hands keep time while his brain searches. He may stumble over a sentence he would normally nail or forget the point of his story halfway through because your presence is louder than his plan. If you step closer and the fidgeting calms, that's your answer. Your nearness soothes what his nerves stirred up. Space is a love letter too. In a hallway, he positions his body between you and the shoulder traffic without fuss. On a date, he chooses the seat with the worst view so you get the better one. In a group, he shifts so you're included in the circle. He doesn't hem you in, he orbits, leaving room for you to arrive and room for you to leave if you want to. Good men don't box women in, they make space. And you can feel the difference between possessiveness and presence. Possessiveness leans in too hard, fingers on your elbow guiding you where you didn't choose. Presence opens a path and walks beside you. Pay attention to the micro pauses. When you stand to leave, there's a fraction of a second where he hesitates, as if his body wants to say, stay. When you make a joke, he waits to laugh until he's sure you're laughing too, his timing playing to your rhythm. When you share something vulnerable, he doesn't rush in with a solution. He stills, letting your words land, eyes steady, shoulders soft. This is the body learning to listen. Even his clumsiness tells a story. He knocks over a water glass because his attention is riveted to your face. He forgets where he set down his keys because everything in him is leaning toward you. Love isn't always suave. Sometimes it's dropping a tortilla chip because your favorite person just smiled. If you find a man's grace intensifies when you're calm and falters when you're dazzling, that's your mirror. He's regulating to you, undone by you, steadied by you. And then there's the protective instinct. Quiet, never controlling. He offers his jacket without making a show of it. He walks on the street side because his grandpa taught him to, not because he thinks you can't handle a curb. He carries the heavier bag if your shoulder looks strained. He watches your face for signals of discomfort in a room full of strangers and asks with a tilt of his head if you want to leave. Protection, when it's rooted in respect, feels like gentleness, not confinement. In the digital realm, body language becomes timing and tone. He replies when he can with intention, not with performative scarcity. Voice notes arrive with warmth you can hear, smiles pressed into syllables, the low hum of contentment when he says your name. On FaceTime, he leans closer when you do, laughs in stereo with your laugh, angles his camera so he can watch you more than himself. Even silence is body language when you're on a call together. The shared quiet that doesn't itch. I notice how he occupies a room when you're in it. He's more open, more generous in his gestures, like his body is larger than its frame because love makes people expansive. He'll share the last slice without being asked, scoot his chair to create a little triangle of privacy in a crowded space, hold a door just long enough that it's about consideration, not control. When someone interrupts you, his head turns sharply, not to speak for you but to witness that it happened. Bodies advocate by where they face and what they notice. Finally, the tell I trust most is the exhale. When love is present, there's this soft sigh he doesn't even know he makes when you laugh, when you arrive, when you settle. The breath leaves like relief, like gratitude. It's the body's way of saying, we're home. He might never articulate it that way, but you'll hear it if you're listening. The steadying, the settling, the wordless confession. Words will come in time. Until then, his body is already telling you the truth. He gets nervous around you. People often assume that men are always confident, always in control, always ready with the right words at the right time. But the truth is, even the most composed, successful, self-assured man can suddenly turn into a slightly clumsy, tongue-tied version of himself when he's around the woman he truly cares about. This nervousness is not weakness, it's chemistry. It's the body's way of betraying feelings before the mind is ready to admit them. Think about it. When you're with him, maybe he taps his fingers against the table as though he needs an outlet for extra energy. Or he pulls at his collar, adjusts his watch, runs his hand through his hair, tiny movements that seem unnecessary, yet they happen again and again in your presence. That's because his heart is racing faster, his palms are warmer, and his mind is juggling two opposing forces, the desire to impress you and the fear of messing it all up. Even his words can give him away. He may stumble in the middle of a story he's told 100 times before, forget the name of a place he knows well, or laugh awkwardly at his own jokes. Not because he isn't smart or charming, but because your presence scrambles the neat order of his thoughts. You make him care about the impression he's leaving. And sometimes, when a man cares deeply, his nerves get the better of him. He might check his phone more often, not because he's distracted, but because he's suddenly unsure of how to hold still under the intensity of his feelings. Or maybe he blurts out something random, something so unrelated that even he laughs at himself, because his brain is rushing ahead of his mouth. That's not disinterest, that's vulnerability dressed up as clumsiness. What's even more telling is how his nervous energy shifts over time. At first, it might look like fidgeting, hesitation, or even avoidance of too much eye contact. But gradually, as he grows more comfortable with you, the nervousness becomes playful energy, teasing, light touches, laughter that comes too quickly. Nervousness transforms into excitement once he realizes you don't expect him to be perfect. And the fact that he even gets nervous around you in the first place is proof that you matter. He doesn't lose his words in front of people who don't touch his heart. He doesn't rehearse conversations in his head before seeing people he doesn't care about. He does this for you because you've unsettled the calm surface of his usual world. So when you notice that he spills his drink a little too often at your dinners, that his hands tremble slightly when he hands you something, or that he blushes when your eyes lock, don't mistake it for lack of confidence. It's actually the opposite. Nervousness around you is his soul's way of shouting, "You're important to me, and I can't hide it." He prioritizes your happiness. When a man falls in love, something shifts deep inside him. Suddenly, your happiness begins to matter as much, sometimes even more, than his own. This doesn't mean he loses himself or stops caring about his needs. Rather, it means he actively looks for ways to see you smile, to make you feel comfortable, to ensure that your day is a little lighter simply because he was in it. You can see this in the smallest, almost invisible ways. Maybe he gives you the better seat at a restaurant, one with the nicer view. Maybe he adjusts the air conditioning in his car because he noticed you rubbing your arms against the chill. Or maybe he saves you the last bite of dessert, even though he wanted it too. These small choices might seem ordinary, but they're the everyday language of love. Pay attention to how he notices your moods. If you're tired, he might encourage you to rest, taking care of things so you don't have to. If you're stressed, he might bring you your favorite snack or send you a funny video just to see your expression change. If you're cold, his jacket is on your shoulders before you even ask. He is quietly scanning for opportunities to make you more comfortable because your comfort brings him peace. And it's not about grand declarations, it's about the rhythm of daily life. A man who prioritizes your happiness doesn't always announce it, he simply does it, again and again, until it becomes part of how he shows love. Even his time becomes a reflection of this priority. He'll rearrange his schedule, postpone a personal plan, or stay up late just to hear about your day. He knows that life isn't always easy, so he positions himself as someone who makes your world a little easier. And the beautiful part is that he doesn't treat it like a chore. He finds joy in it. Seeing you laugh, hearing your sigh of relief, or watching you relax after a tough day gives him a kind of fulfillment that no personal win could replace. There's also a deeper layer here. He respects your independence while still wanting to add to your joy. He doesn't try to solve everything or control your emotions, but he looks for ways to walk beside you in them. If you're chasing a dream, he cheers you on rather than feeling threatened. If you set boundaries, he honors them rather than pushing against them. Prioritizing your happiness doesn't mean overriding your will. It means aligning with it, choosing to support rather than compete. And sometimes, prioritizing your happiness looks like sacrifice. It might be giving up his comfort for yours, driving across town to pick you up when you're stranded, staying calm when you're upset even if his own day was rough, or learning to enjoy things he normally wouldn't because they matter to you. Love makes a man willing to compromise not out of obligation but out of genuine desire to see you content. When you reflect on it, prioritizing someone's happiness is one of the clearest, most selfless signs of love. Anyone can say, "I love you," but the man who consistently chooses your well-being over his temporary convenience is showing it in action. And when he sees your face light up because of something he did, whether it's as simple as grabbing your favorite drink on the way to see you or as profound as supporting you through a life change, that moment is his reward. Your happiness becomes his happiness. And that, more than anything else, is proof of love. He introduces you to his world. When a man is genuinely in love, one of the most powerful signs isn't just what he does when you're alone, it's how he integrates you into the larger story of his life. For many men, their world is made up of carefully built layers: family, friends, work, hobbies, traditions, memories, and places that hold meaning. And most men don't open those doors casually. If he begins inviting you into those layers, it's because he sees you as someone permanent, someone he wants woven into the fabric of his daily life. It might start small. He casually mentions a gathering with his closest friends and asks if you'd like to come along. At first, it might seem like a normal invitation, but think about it. Introducing someone to friends is never just casual when feelings are real. Friends are often the mirror of who we are, and by letting you meet them, he's showing he's not afraid for you to see him unfiltered. If he's nervous before you meet them, it's not because he doubts you, it's because he wants the people who matter most to him to love you, too. Family is an even bigger step. When a man truly cares about you, introducing you to his parents, siblings, or relatives is his way of saying, "This is the person I'm proud to have by my side." Family introductions are vulnerable. Families know all of his history, his strengths, his weaknesses, and sometimes his secrets. If he brings you into that circle, he's exposing more than just a polished version of himself, he's letting you see his roots. It's not just about sharing Sunday dinner, it's about sharing identity. But it goes beyond family and friends. A man who introduces you to his colleagues, his mentors, or even people he looks up to is placing you in his professional world as well. He wants people he respects to know who you are, which means he sees you as part of his long-term story. Maybe he invites you to a work function, proud to have you there. Maybe he tells stories about you in front of his peers, subtly signaling that you're central to his life now. That's not casual, it's commitment. He'll also introduce you to his passions. If he loves hiking, he'll take you to his favorite trail. If he's into music, he'll share the bands that shaped him, the playlists that carry memories. If he has a childhood tradition, he'll invite you to experience it. These aren't just hobbies, they're extensions of himself. By sharing them, he's giving you access to his most authentic self. It's a silent promise: "I want you to understand me fully." Sometimes, he'll even open up the less polished parts of his world. He might show you his messy room where he still keeps old high school trophies. He might introduce you to that one childhood friend who knows embarrassing stories. He might let you see his vulnerable side, the part that isn't Instagram perfect. And that's when you know it's real. Love isn't just about sharing highlights, it's about trusting you with the raw, unfiltered truth of his world. When a man lets you into his world, it's never just logistics, it's symbolism. He's not just asking you to meet people or visit places. He's saying, "This is where I belong, and I want you to belong here too." If you notice that he consistently includes you in plans, traditions, and milestones, it means he isn't imagining his future without you in it. And in love, that's as serious as it gets. He supports your goals without jealousy. One of the most beautiful yet rare qualities in a man in love is the ability to celebrate your victories as if they're his own, without letting envy or competition creep in. Many people say they want their partner to succeed, but when success arrives, it can stir insecurity. The man who truly loves you doesn't see your growth as a threat, he sees it as a shared triumph. He doesn't compare your path to his, he aligns with it, rooting for you every step of the way. You'll see this support in countless little ways. If you're working late on a project, he brings you dinner or makes sure you're comfortable. If you're nervous before a presentation, he becomes your cheerleader, reminding you of your strengths and helping you rehearse if you want. When you talk about a dream, whether it's starting a business, traveling to a new country, or learning a new skill, he doesn't dismiss it as unrealistic. Instead, he leans in, asks questions, and wonders aloud how he can help. And when success finally comes, when you land the promotion, finish the degree, or cross the finish line of your goal, his joy is unshakable. He doesn't feel overshadowed, he feels proud. He'll post about it, brag to his friends, or quietly celebrate with you in a way that makes you feel like the star of the story. That's because your win feels like his win, not in a possessive sense, but in the purest form of partnership. True support also shows up when progress is slow. A man who loves you won't just stand by when the spotlight is on. He'll encourage you during the long, quiet grind of chasing your dreams. He'll remind you why you started when you doubt yourself. He'll pick you up emotionally when setbacks hit, never making you feel small for failing, but instead reinforcing the belief that failure is just part of the path. That consistency, celebrating not just the result but the process, is where love proves itself. And here's what makes it even more powerful: he doesn't resent the attention or success you receive. In fact, he admires it. Instead of feeling diminished by your shine, he steps back and claps louder. He sees your independence and strength not as a challenge to his role but as part of why he loves you. He doesn't need to dim your light to feel bright himself. That kind of security is rare, and it's one of the clearest indicators that his love is mature and real. Support without jealousy also means he adapts. If your goals require you to spend more time at work, study late, or travel often, he doesn't guilt-trip you for being unavailable. He may miss you, but he respects your ambition. He knows that your growth is not a threat to the relationship, it's nourishment for it. A love that's rooted in respect knows that when one person grows, the bond becomes stronger, not weaker. At its heart, his support is about partnership. He doesn't see life as a competition between the two of you, but as a shared journey. Your dreams and goals are not distractions from him, they're part of why he loves you in the first place. And by supporting them with genuine joy, he proves that he's not just in love with who you are now, but with who you are becoming. That's not just affection, it's vision. He adjusts his schedule for you. One of the clearest signs that a man is truly in love is the way he treats his time. Busy men, especially those with demanding jobs, tight routines, or full calendars, don't just stumble across extra hours in the day. Time is their most precious resource, and when they give it freely to you, it's never by accident, it's a deliberate choice. A man who is serious about you won't simply say, "I'm busy," and disappear. Instead, he will start shifting things around, bending his schedule, and finding ways to make sure you feel prioritized. This is because love has a way of rewriting priorities. What once seemed immovable suddenly becomes flexible when you're in the picture. Imagine a man who typically wakes up at 5 a.m. to hit the gym. Now, if you mention you'd love to go on a morning walk together, he'll happily swap out a solo workout to share those steps with you. Or maybe his evenings are usually reserved for late-night work emails, but instead of sitting at his desk, he closes his laptop earlier just to have dinner with you. These adjustments might seem small, but they're huge indicators of his feelings. He is choosing connection with you over routine. And it's not only about the big gestures like canceling plans or taking a day off work. Often, love shows up in the in-between spaces. He'll squeeze in a phone call between meetings because he wants to hear your voice. He'll delay grabbing lunch with coworkers because you asked him to join you for a quick bite. He'll cut a night out short with his friends just so he can come by to check in on you. Those little sacrifices may not seem grand, but they're proof that you've become a central part of his day-to-day decisions. The most telling part is that he doesn't complain about it. He doesn't make you feel guilty for the time he shifts. Instead, he seems energized by it, even grateful. Being with you feels like a reward, not a chore. That's how you know it's love, because instead of feeling like he's giving something up, he feels like he's gaining something infinitely more valuable: time spent with you. Sometimes, adjusting his schedule is also about planning for your future. If he knows you have an important exam, he'll rearrange his weekend so he can help you study or simply give you space without distraction. If you're working toward a career goal that demands your evenings, he'll shift his availability so your paths still cross. These compromises are quiet but powerful. They say, "I'm not just fitting you into my life, I'm making room for you in it." And love goes further. When he cancels a commitment he could have kept, when he reschedules an appointment to see you, when he offers to drive across the city just for an hour together, these things tell you that he doesn't measure his time in hours anymore. He measures it in moments with you. For him, even 10 minutes of laughter or a quick hug at the end of a long day is worth the reshuffling of his entire agenda. And that's how you know his heart is deeply involved. He notices changes others miss. One of the most intimate signs of a man's love is his ability to notice the subtle things about you that others overlook. For most men, details like a new lipstick shade, a slightly different hairstyle, or even the mood behind your smile fly under the radar. But when he's in love, his attention sharpens. Suddenly, he becomes attuned to the smallest shifts in your appearance, your tone of voice, your energy. These aren't random observations, they're proof that he's paying very close attention, that he sees you fully, and that he cares enough to remember the version of you from yesterday so he can appreciate what's changed today. You might spend an extra 5 minutes on your eyeliner, never expecting him to notice. And then he says, "Your eyes look different today, did you try something new?" That's not just a comment, that's validation that he's studying the canvas of who you are with genuine fascination. Or maybe you cut just an inch off your hair, something so small most people would miss. But the moment he sees you, his eyes light up and he says, "I like your hair, it suits you." That moment tells you he's paying attention not only to what you look like but to how you want to present yourself. But it's not just about appearance. A man in love will notice when you're quieter than usual, when your laugh doesn't sound as full, when your texts feel shorter, or when your shoulders slump with fatigue. He picks up on these emotional changes because he's tuned into your energy. Others might brush past you, but he stops, asks, and cares. If he says things like, "You seem tired today, want to rest," or, "You don't sound like yourself, what's on your mind?" it's his way of showing that he notices the version of you beneath the surface. Even in group settings, his awareness stands out. While everyone else is distracted, he's the one who spots that you're uncomfortable in a crowded room and moves closer to make you feel safe. While others don't notice that you're cold, he's already offering his jacket. This level of perception doesn't come from obligation, it comes from love. He doesn't just see the big picture, he sees the brushstrokes. And sometimes, his noticing turns into celebration. If you try a new outfit, he'll compliment it sincerely. If you start using a new perfume, he'll mention how it reminds him of something beautiful. If you've been working hard and there's a glow about you, he'll point it out proudly. These acknowledgments are small, but they're powerful. They tell you that you're not invisible, that someone is watching with admiration and care. The beauty of this sign is that it can't be faked. Men don't usually train themselves to look for micro changes. If he's noticing, it's because you're on his mind. His focus naturally gravitates toward you, and he doesn't want to miss a thing. That's love, quiet, attentive, and deeply personal. When a man notices changes others miss, he's showing you that every version of you is worth noticing, every detail is worth appreciating, and every shift is worth loving. He's protective, but not controlling. When a man is truly in love, there's a natural instinct that kicks in, an instinct to make sure you're safe, comfortable, and cared for. But there's a fine line between love-driven protectiveness and toxic control, and the difference lies in respect. A man who loves you with his whole heart will want to protect you, but he'll never cage you. He's not interested in limiting your freedom or making choices for you. Instead, he's focused on creating an environment where you feel secure, supported, and valued. His protectiveness is gentle, not overbearing. It's about presence, not possession. Picture this. You're leaving a restaurant late at night, and without a word, he naturally walks on the side closest to the street. He doesn't make a big show of it, he doesn't tell you what to do, he just positions himself where he feels he can shield you from potential harm. That's not about control, it's about instinctive care. Or maybe you're walking through a crowded room, and he lightly places a hand on your back to guide you, not because he wants to own your space, but because he's making sure you don't get jostled. These tiny gestures often go unnoticed, but they reveal volumes about how deeply he feels for you. His protectiveness shows up in practical ways too. He checks if you made it home safely after a late night. He makes sure your car has gas before a long drive. He asks if you've eaten when he knows you've been working nonstop all day. None of these things are demands, they're expressions of care. Love turns his attention outward, toward you. Your well-being becomes his quiet priority, woven into his daily thoughts. And here's the key difference. A controlling man will tell you what you can't do, where you can't go, who you shouldn't talk to. A loving man will never strip away your agency. Instead, he'll support your independence while making sure you know he's there when you need him. His protectiveness empowers you rather than diminishes you. It feels like having a safety net, not a prison. Sometimes his protective nature even extends to your emotions. He notices when you're overwhelmed and steps in to lighten the load, whether it's running an errand, making you laugh, or simply sitting quietly by your side. He doesn't try to take over your problems, but he does want you to know you don't have to face them alone. He becomes your partner in challenges, not your supervisor. He's protective, too, of the space you share together. He won't let others speak poorly of you, even when you're not around. He'll defend you, not because you can't defend yourself, but because love makes him unwilling to let anyone disrespect the person who means the world to him. In his presence, you feel secure, not because he restricts you, but because he shields you with loyalty, respect, and quiet strength. That's why this sign is so powerful. His protectiveness isn't about ownership, it's about love in action. It's the subtle but consistent reminder that your safety, dignity, and happiness matter to him more than his own convenience. It's the kind of care that doesn't smother you, it frees you to be fully yourself, because you know someone's got your back. So ladies, the next time you're wondering if his feelings run deeper than friendship, look for these little signs. Love doesn't always announce itself with fireworks, sometimes it's hidden in the everyday moments. Love rarely comes barging into the room with a marching band and flashing lights. More often than not, it's in the quiet details, the things so small you might almost miss them. That's why when you're sitting there asking yourself, does he really care about me? Is this just friendship, or something more? The answers are often hidden in those everyday moments that don't look dramatic on the surface. He may not say, "I'm in love with you," right away, but he shows it in the way he remembers the coffee order you didn't think twice about. He shows it in how he gives up his favorite seat so you can have the better view. He shows it when he adjusts his day, not because it's convenient, but because being with you feels worth any rearranging. The truth is, when a man's feelings go deeper, they reveal themselves in patterns. Patterns of consistency, thoughtfulness, protection, vulnerability, encouragement. Think about it. If he's nervous around you, if his body leans toward yours even when he doesn't realize it, if he supports your goals as if they were his own dreams, that's not just friendship anymore. That's someone who is quietly, steadily investing his heart. He's not showing love by delivering grand speeches, he's showing it by the way he makes you laugh when you've had a bad day, or the way he notices when your voice sounds a little different over the phone. These are not random acts. They're the steady pulse of love, disguised as ordinary life. And here's where it gets tricky. Sometimes we expect love to come with certainty, clarity, and big declarations. But in reality, real love often looks like the in-between moments, the late-night texts that say, "Did you get home safe?" The hand that automatically reaches for yours in a crowd. The way he introduces you to his people, his world, without hesitation, as if he can't imagine you not being part of it. These moments, these little signs, are the language of love whispered in actions, not shouted in words. They're the proof that his feelings aren't shallow. They're deeper than friendship, deeper than convenience. They're anchored in care. So, the next time you're sitting there wondering, is he into me, or is this just in my head? Slow down and watch. Look at what he does when nobody's asking him to. Look at how he treats you in the quiet spaces between big events. Look at whether his choices bend gently toward you again and again. Because love doesn't always arrive with fireworks. Sometimes it tiptoes in on everyday gestures, and before you know it, you realize, it's been there all along, steady, patient, and undeniable. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more insights, and check the links in the description for more videos and ways to connect. I know it's easy to listen, nod, and then move on to the next video, But if this resonated with you, even a little, take a second to tap that like button. It's not just support for me, it's a way for you to say, yes, this hit home, this is exactly what I needed to hear. And if you want more, subscribing is the best way to stay close. Every new video I put out is crafted with you in mind, designed to answer those quiet questions we all carry but don't always say out loud. And don't just stop here. Check the links in the description. That's where you'll find more content, deeper dives, maybe even some resources that can guide you in your own journey with love, relationships, and self-discovery. You can follow on other platforms, join the conversations, and keep learning alongside other women asking the same questions you are. Because here's the truth. Love is complicated, but you don't have to figure it out alone. With every video, we're creating a space where you can pause, reflect, and feel seen. So go ahead, like, subscribe, explore the links. Stay connected, because the signs of love may be subtle, but the support you deserve shouldn't be. And together, we'll keep uncovering the things that matter most.